Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Wars action figure review. Today we're taking a look at a figure once again from the Black Series 6-inch line. I am a little bit late to the party with this review as this is a figure that I missed out on when it was first released. This guy came out around 8 or 9 months ago. He was released in conjunction with Triple Force Friday, and again it's a figure that I didn't manage to get my hands on back when it was first released. It is, of course, the Mandalorian, and this is an amazing figure. I was lucky enough to pick up the carbonized version on Triple Force Friday. But if you're wondering just what it is that makes those two figures different, the carbonized version is a nice variant in its own right. It looks stunning. But if you're going for screen accuracy and you really want a representation of how the Mandalorian looks in the show, then this is the figure that you're going to want to add to your collection. Now, miraculously, Amazon.co.uk were able to find stock of this figure somehow, some way, and recently listed this one online. At the time of filming, he is still in stock, so if you did miss out on this figure, be sure to hit the link in the video description where you can purchase it for yourself. He was a popular figure 9 months ago, he's probably still going to be popular now, so I wouldn't hesitate, I would pick him up if you didn't manage to get one. Obviously, we're going to see an updated Mandalorian figure in the Black Series line later on this year, where he will feature his jetpack and his Beskar armor and all that sort of stuff, but that doesn't make this figure any less cool. This figure is of course based on the Mandalorian's early appearances in the show during the first couple of episodes, and it's a phenomenal figure and one that I'm very happy to have in the collection. So we're going to jump into this review in a little bit more detail in just a moment, but before we do, as always, let's take a look at the packaging he comes in, and once again we do get standard Black Series packaging for this figure. You've got the Black Series logo there at the top of the box. Down in the bottom corner you've got that really nice image of the Mandalorian illustrated by Gregory Titus. I'll be sad to see the backs of these illustrations once the new packaging comes into effect later on this year. On the side of the box, you'll see this figure is number 94 in the Black Series line. And then on the reverse side, you've got that image once again, accompanied by a very brief, very vague description of the character. Obviously, this figure was released before The Mandalorian began to air on Disney+, so the description of the character is a little bit more mysterious than what we know now. But very cool, nonetheless. Standard stuff in terms of packaging. The figure itself, however, is absolutely phenomenal, and again, I'm really happy that despite being a few months too late, I have been able to pick one of these figures up. It just looks absolutely phenomenal, and I can't say enough good things about this guy. He is such a stunning addition to the collection. Now, as I mentioned, he does share some similarities to the carbonized exclusive. Obviously, the figure in terms of sculpt, articulation and accessories is exactly the same. The colour palette is the only thing that's different. This figure is obviously much more accurate to how the Mandalorian appears in the TV series. He's got this dulled colour palette going on. Much more realistic tones in my opinion. Just for the sake of a quick comparison, I do have the carbonized Mandalorian still inside his plastic prison here, and as you can see, the colour on the armour, the colours on the jumpsuit and on the helmet, they're a little bit lighter than the basic release, and this isn't so much how the Mandalorian appears in the series. I appreciate what Hasbro were trying to do with the carbonized version. They were trying to give collectors a little bit of something different. It almost introduced a chase variant element to the Black Series line. But again, in terms of screen accuracy, this is the figure that you're going to want to pick up. I will probably do a separate review on the carbonized version at some point, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, in terms of overall colour scheme, I think I'd definitely prefer the standard release. There's just something about the metallic finish on the what should be cloth garments on the figure that just doesn't really sit right with me. So I've decided to put this figure back inside its box and display it as an in-box item. It just looks a lot better that way, in my opinion. But like I said, I'll probably get around to doing a review on this figure some point in the future. So back to the standard Black Series Mandalorian. Here he is. Again, stunning figure, superbly detailed, really well sculpted and really nicely articulated as well. He's not without his flaws, and we'll touch base on those later on in the video, But before we do that, let's just quickly touch base on articulation, because he's packed with it. Right off the bat, we have a ball joint and a hinge at the neck, and you've got a really nice fluid range of movement there. The helmet rather, is obviously not removable, as at this point we didn't know what Din Djarin looked like underneath the helmet. Hasbro obviously wanted to avoid spoilers, so it's just a solid ball joint there. There is a ball joint in the helmet and in the neck post, so again, that really adds to that range of movement. We have hinges at the shoulders. The armour isn't restrictive of that posability, which is good, as similar to the Death Trooper and other troopers in the Black Series line, these shoulder plates are made of a soft plastic which mould themselves over the shoulder and allow you to get a really nice range of movement there. We have a single joint in the elbow and a hinge at the wrist, a ball joint at the torso, although some of that is slightly hindered by the bandolier across the chest which connects to the belt. There's also swivels at the forearms as well, almost failed to mention those. We have hinges at the hips, swivel cut at the upper thigh, a double joint once again in the knee, and a hinge and a rocker at the ankle. So really nice articulation on this figure. You can get him into some great poses, and he just looks absolutely phenomenal on shelf. Really nicely put together figure. Now, in terms of accessories, he does come with a couple. He comes with his standard blaster pistol, which, as you can see, is a really nice sculpt. It's cast or painted in this really nice gunmetal grey silver effect. Looks awesome. Very Western in its appearance, and that can be placed inside the holster that's attached to the belt. And he also comes with his blaster rifle, which again is really nicely sculpted, really nicely painted, and one of the things that I also prefer over the carbonized version of the Mandalorian is the fact that the paint doesn't seem to chip away as much on the standard release on either the weapons or the figure itself. That metallic paint on the carbonized version tends to chip and wear away a lot easier than this one, which is a negative aspect and a flaw of the carbonized version, but a definite tick in the box and a plus with regards to this figure. I love this weapon. It's of course the sniper rifle that he uses in the show, obviously inspired by the staff that Boba Fett uses in the animated holiday special. Really nice little homage there in regards to the weapons. In terms of the rest of the figure, obviously he comes with his cape, which is made of plastic, but is really nicely sculpted. You've got some nice woven textures going on there. He also features a slot on the back of the figure where you can plug the blaster rifle in. Now, as I mentioned in my vintage collection Mandalorian review, the rifle isn't a great fit inside this slot. As you can see, there's a hole in the bandolier and there's a hole in the figure, and you've got to try and line those up in order to plug the blaster rifle via this little peg on the side into the back of the figure, but it's just not a very good fit. It kind of, if you force it, you're going to damage the peg. As you can see, I've done a little bit there, and it just kind of just sits like so. This is to allow the cape to go underneath the rifle, but the slightest little touch and you'll knock the rifle straight out of the hole, which is a little bit of a shame in my opinion. And I found the best way to display the rifle inside the bandolier is just by placing it through the bandolier itself like so, and then just leaving it to rest like that. That provides a much better result in my opinion. But that's the only real flaw of the figure. As I said, the sculpt, articulation, and the sheer detail in this one is absolutely fantastic. You've got some really nice carbon scoring, some battle damage going on the armour, nice textures sculpted into the belt and into the clothing. Again, fine details on the armour itself and on the overall costume. This guy just looks the part. He looks really nice. You've also got some really nice weathering on the helmet there as well. So all in all, just a stunning figure. Definitely ticks all the boxes in terms of articulation, in terms of sculpt, accessories, and overall detail. This is a great addition to the Black Series line, and once again a figure I'm very, very happy to have in my Star Wars collection. So definitely recommend picking him up, especially if you can grab him while you can. And again, big kudos goes out to Amazon for getting some restocks of this guy and allowing collectors to get their hands on it for those who missed out. So a great figure, definitely a nice addition to the collection. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I will be back with some more Black Series 6-inch figure reviews very soon. I've got some more figures from the Gleaming Greats line to give you a look at soon, so make sure you stay tuned for those. And until next time, as always, thank you for watching, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.